quickly. And I don't know another way. It kind of got it in the ditch pretty darn quick, and I didn't see the necessity in it. And this is down in Walker County, where there have been troubles aplenty. And I am joined right now by, I think, I will say this: the candidate who is not the incumbent, but is the favorite among those who would be challenging the incumbent, and that is Mr. Shannon Whitfield. And Shannon, very good to see you again, sir.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on this morning, Jeff. I know it's pretty short notice, and you've been able to work me in, and I appreciate that.
I'm glad you were able to do it, and I'm going to say what I said again earlier this morning, and JR commented and said pretty much the same thing. Bill Lockhart said pretty much the same thing. I don't know why we're having this conversation. Bibi Heiskell, who's come in every time I've ever asked, and she's asked for time a few times. She's never shied away from controversy. She's always given her answer. Have no problems, no issues with her personally. But on Friday, and again, maybe it's just the social media. I'm not a fan, and I just have a natural prejudice against it. And it's exactly because of things like this. I don't hear those words coming out of her mouth over the radio or on TV. But by gosh, she typed them out on Facebook, and all but just point blank accused you of having an affair, which would be irrelevant and extremely unfair. And you want to respond, and I don't blame you.
Right. This all surfaced last Friday morning, about, I think it's probably around 10:30 in the morning. I saw on Facebook under Bibi's political post that I was being accused of being deceptive not only to the voters but also to my wife and my family, and accusations that I had an affair and been disfaithful to my wife. And that's totally false. That's just all made up stuff. There's no truth to that. I've never been unfaithful to my wife. My wife's never been unfaithful to me.
But that grenade pen was already pulled. I mean, you're already on the defensive at that point.
Right. So, we've been married almost 24 years. And so within less than an hour, I went to a Walker County Chamber membership appreciation luncheon, and Bibi Heiskell was there. And I just walked up to her and took a witness with me. And I said, "Hey, Bibi, can I just talk to you for a few minutes?" And I said, I want to know why you're attacking my marriage and attacking my family. And she looked kind of startled, Jeff. She didn't really, I honestly don't think she knew what I was talking about. And so I showed her on my phone where she could read the post, and she read it, and she looked at it, and she said, "Shannon, I don't know anything about your family. Don't know anything about your marriage." And I said, "Well, Bibi, that's exactly right. You're 100% correct. You don't. So I'm just curious why this type stuff was posted on your political page." And she says, "Well, I don't know, but I will look into it and let you know." So I think there's somewhat of an admission of guilt here on her behalf, because before the luncheon was over, that post had been pulled off her page. But you know how social media works. A lot of people are screenshotting this information.
Actually, I don't. I'm proud to say, but I'm learning just by osmosis. Yeah, things go up, they come back down.
That's right.
Hey, Kim Kardashian posted something yesterday and then took it right back down again. Yeah. So, the world is still revolving because Kim's still out there, I guess. But no, I mean, it's there. People take, when they say screenshots, that's essentially taking a photograph of what's on the screen. It can disappear within seconds. Right. But if anybody was really paying attention, and you can have the ding, ding, ding alert on your computer say, "Hey, the thing that you were so interested in just made an appearance," and it lives. It lives.
That's right. And so it's been reposted a few times by people, and there's been quite of an outcry for Bibi to take ownership of this mistake. And I clearly think it's a mistake at this point. I don't think Bibi intended for that to happen, or she wouldn't have retracted it so quickly. But
an overzealous volunteer?
Yeah, I think so. I think some of her campaign workers may have got just a little quick to the trigger there. And I think what had happened is I had backed Bibi in the corner the week prior on a debate, because we were on Judy O'Neill's channel, their local station, and had a debate.
Which obviously long may Judy and her show and shows like hers wave, community oriented, small wattage. People think this is a podunk type thing. No, actually, it has quite a viewership.
It does.
And for people in the rural areas, these things are important, and she takes her job seriously. So you guys run there, and the amount of indebtedness that Walker County, and there's plenty of it, but how much was the debate?
Well, that was part of the debate, but the thing that I put Bibi in the box on, put her in the corner, that I think's what kind of triggered this response to me that was so negative, is I asked her how much money she had recently borrowed from the Walker County Water and Sewer Authority without the board's knowledge, and she didn't really want to answer that question. And then she did circle back around and said, well, it was an investment from the Walker County Water and Sewer Authority to the county. It has since come out, and
Is the authority aware of that they had invested this money?
Well, B.B. Heiskell, as the commissioner, is also the chairperson of that board. And then also David Ashburn is the general manager who also works for the county, and he's also a voting board member of the Water Authority. And then there's 3 other members, but those other members were not aware of this loan. And so it's been spun on that side that, well, the general manager has the ability to invest money. If they've got money in reserves, he has the ability to take and invest money without the board approval, which is really shocking to me that any manager or any one single person that is responsible to other board members will just up and pull $1 million out of a CD and give it to the county that's insolvent. And so this has now come out. They say, well, there is a promissory note and they're going to repay 5% interest. So other municipal, well, that sounds like a good deal on the surface.
I was going to say, if you could get it, and
but it's a good deal for the water company, but it's kind of a bad deal interest-wise for the county, because most municipal governments are able to borrow money for about 2%, and so we're more than double of the going interest rate. But more importantly, even if they come up and they can prove that the general manager did have the ability and the authority to make that loan, the commissioner still has to go back in her weekly meeting and put that on her agenda for Walker County government. She has to bring that up during the meeting and actually sign that promissory note during the meeting and put that into the minutes and the records of the county. That was not done back in September. I've attended her meetings when they have those on a weekly basis. The public had no knowledge, the media had no knowledge that she had borrowed this $1 million.
There was no public forum, there was no public input.
That's
there
right.
was a not necessarily illegal, but certainly outside of the parameters and protocol of parliamentary procedure and the rules set for the county of Hamilton, of Walker. And I will again state for the record, for those who do not know, in the United States of America, there are exactly 8 counties that have a sole commissioner, and all 8 of them are in the state of Georgia. That is a lot of power to be vested in one person. BB has been that person for a long time.
Right. She's been in that position for 16 years, and you're exactly right. In the other 49 countries, the other 49 states, it's completely illegal to have a sole form of government. And we're working Walker County to move away from that. That's about a 4-year process to get it done. But basically, when she's talked about what the debt numbers were, she admits that back in June that she had to do a $5 million loan, or a TAN, a tax anticipation note, that she would pay back by December 31st of 2016. She's talked about that openly as part of the debt, but she did not disclose to the taxpayers and the citizens of Walker County that by the end of September, she had borrowed another $1 million. And this money is to pay the day-to-day operations. They needed that money to make payroll, to pay the utilities, to buy gasoline and diesel fuel for the buses and the police cars, and keep the lights on. Exactly. So Walker County's broke, and she's been in this position.
It's worse than broke.
Yes. We're insolvent. We're an insolvent county. In the state of Georgia, another thing, you cannot legally file bankruptcy for a local municipal or county government. So the worst thing that could happen is the state could come over and take over our county as a receivership and come in and try to straighten things out. So we hope that doesn't.
They have no paradigm for doing that. They don't have any experience that I know of. Same thing happened when they were going to do that with the schools here. The threat was there, but has it ever been done before? Who would be in charge? There wasn't a plan.
Yeah, and it's, I know, definitely the last thing the state would want to do, but basically this election, from the way I've seen it and what I've been campaigning on, is sticking to the facts. And the facts are, we have a tremendous amount of debt in this county. We have a real serious cash flow problem. We're not able to pay our bills. County employees tell me that there's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of invoices laying down there at the county now, where there's vendors calling in on a daily basis wanting payment, wanting their money. And so we've got a real financial crisis in Walker County, and that's what this election's about.
Well, you don't move, and I want to give you a chance to actually, the first and foremost reason that I brought you in, I want you to make your official public statement on that in just a second. And I will come back and we'll talk more about this. We already got a couple of people on hold. If you're a North Georgia listener, Walker County in particular, but other counties share these problems. And again, most counties share some of these problems. And I've brought up similar maneuvers by our elected officials without the knowledge, entire boards, sometimes in the dark, about what their board has decided to do, because one particularly powerful member just decided this is the way we're going to go, and they don't want to admit that they didn't know, because that shows that they're not really on the inner circle. It's a mess. It's a big fat mess. You're listening to Fred the Show. It is hump day. It is Wednesday. We set an all-time record for heat in the month of November in the Volunteer State yesterday. Perfect time to be out hiking on the dusty trail. I think I added about a quarter pound of pure dust nestled into the bottom of my lungs and caked up into the very top of my sinuses. So put on a little poundage. That's okay. I can use it. My frame can carry it. Jennifer, we'll come to you in a second. Questions, comments, attaboys, go to hells, whatever you got. 267-1023 for the show. $10.28. Jennifer, hang on, coming directly to you. I'll take a county resident down in Walker, and obviously, let me just read to you. This is what was written on Friday. And again, BB Heiskell, the county commissioner, does not want to give up her position. She did switch parties, I think twice. Once left the Democratic Party because, again, Satan himself could be put into a Republican slot in some of the red areas around here. No offense to you or the Republican Party, but let's just face it. A D is not going to win in some parts of this area, this region. And then as an independent, I guess now. So there's three candidates, but focus kind of being on Mr. Whitfield here with name recognition, some family money and leverage. But this is what was seen on Facebook on Friday. All right. BB wrote, I fully expected you to go back to your same old lying ways, just as you have been untruthful about your history, be it business, school, and family. You cannot be honest about the county finances. And then I guess a few minutes go by, and there was the response. Sorry, I offended you. This was Shannon Whitfield's words, by letting everyone see the balance sheet of the last county audit. I've circled the total liability number so everyone can clearly see how much debt the county has had of September 30th, 2015. No, this is only through September the 30th, 2015. Does not have the Erlanger debt booked on the balance sheet yet, which is quite substantial. And then the comeback, unlike you, I don't have all day to sit on Facebook going on. I have a real job. Why don't you just admit you were giving out bad numbers? You were being deceptive and know it, just as deceptive as you have been in the last 20 years in your marriage. However, I will not stoop low enough to tell the people the truth about that. Good day, Mr. Whitfield. Now, that is saying you're a liar, your pants are on fire, nose as long as a telephone wire, but I'm not going to say that because that would be, unjustified, unclassy, and below me. It's been said, cannot be taken back. Seeds of doubt planted. People always willing to believe the worst, jumping at the opportunity to believe the worst, something I've been disappointed to see things of times as I've been doing this show. So you have to deal with this. This is, and it did. The best thing to do, ignore it and it goes away at some point. Yeah, at some point it does. But at that time, you've got to be sitting there thinking, is my wife reading this? I mean, are my children reading this? It's out. You have to respond. Here's your chance to respond fully just to that issue.
Yeah, Jeff, that's what's real sad. I've got young children, and they see this kind of garbage, and they get confused. They don't know what's going on. But I want to assure the listeners and the voters out there in Walker County, I have never been unfaithful to my wife. I've never cheated on her. She's never cheated or been unfaithful to me. We're coming up on our 24-year anniversary. I know politics can get dirty, and if I had done something like that, I sure would have not have run in this race for commissioner, because I was told on the front end that this group will play dirty and they'll throw stuff out there and they'll make stuff up. So here they are again. They get backed into the corner because they had $1 million worth of debt that they could not justify the process, and they know that they did it under the table. They did it in the dark, so to speak, and they got caught with that. And so they had to throw something out there to try to divert the attention away from that. So, my message has been unwavering through this whole campaign is that the debt is sinking our county, and we've got to address these debt problems. And it's going to take this election and replacing our commissioner as sole commissioner to start down that path of changing the way Walker County is managed. So I just wanted to get on here with you this morning. Again, I appreciate you letting me come on here and talk to the listeners and take calls and let people know that this is just part of her camp making stuff up. She did remove this message off of her Facebook after I confronted her. She took it off probably within less than 30 minutes.
For those just now joining us, he also said previously that he probably believes it was not her, but somebody else with the campaign that probably even wrote those words to begin with.
That's correct. I don't think it was her. She seemed to be shocked that this was out there. She got on the phone after I confronted her. We had a very professional conversation when I did confront her. And within about 30 minutes, before the lunch was over at the chamber, that post had been removed. So that's an admission that they know that it's not true. If they'd have had facts and information, they would have left that up there. So they pulled that. They know it's not true. But, I had reached out on Facebook and hoping that BB would take responsibility for the actions of the people in her camp and issue a formal apology to my wife and to my kids, and I admit to them that this was not something that was true about me, and that someone just got a little antsy in her camp and made this post. So,
and I think people are very quick to forgive about things like this, and I don't think anybody would. Matter of fact, I think if she did do that, I don't think it would be a sign of weakness. It would be a sign of strength. So I'll back you up on that, unless she does intend for it to kind of linger as an issue. Do you remember when you came in? I said, "Why are you doing this?"
Oh yes.
So do you know how bad it's going to get? Even these so-called smaller positions in a local and regional basis. It gets there fast, and nothing is off limits anymore.
Well, that's true. With social media, it's 24/7, and a lot of people say, "Well, hey, I posted a question for you, you've not answered, you've not responded to this," and it's a 24-hour cycle, and it's hard to keep up. But this was done right in the mid-morning. I got the notification that my name had been mentioned and pulled it up since I was tagged in that post. So I still would like for BB to step up and be professional and admit that this wasn't true, and that they did remove this, and that they're sorry that this happened.
All right, very quickly, do you mind? We didn't talk. This happened so fast. Go into the phones.
Sure.
Your choice.
Absolutely.
All right. I was going to say, I wanted you to have a chance to respond. I really hate this area. I hate this stuff when it gets into, again, it would be relevant if it was a staffer. It would be relevant if Mr. Whitfield was the leader of an organization called Don't Cheat on Your Wife North Georgia chapter. That's the only time that it really comes into play, in my opinion. That's people's personal business. I talked to Bobby Stone earlier today, and I have tried my best to stay away from the topic. There's plenty of other meat on many other bones out there if you're unhappy with the Burke administration or other things to talk about. But people are titillated by these things. And as of yesterday, front page news, leading newscasts all night long. I said, I can't ignore it anymore. I got to deal with it. And just so you'll know, I talked to Bobby. He said he would probably come in and talk one day. Today is not that day, but I wanted you to have that chance. We'll go to Jennifer now, who is a Walker County resident. Jennifer, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you, Jeff, for taking my call.
A pleasure.
Mr. Whitfield, the thing about BB Heiskell is their campaign is running scared because they know this is it. And I hope and pray that when you do take office, because I firmly believe that you will be our next commissioner, that you will clean house thoroughly. Because as a resident of Walker County, it doesn't take much to figure out what side of the bread is buttered on, because you know where the better streets are in our town. We know that she has done things without letting us know. I hate to say that there might be criminal stuff. I don't know, but it sure is funny that things have gone on, and we've just been blindsided to the whole event with nothing said. This is what it is, and we're supposed to deal with it. So that being said, I hope that she has to really deal with it come Election Day next Tuesday. And good luck. Have a great day.
Thank you for your call, Jennifer. Appreciate you listening. Your response?
Yes, thank you for the call, Jennifer. And we do feel really good about this election, and they are running scared. I agree with you. There's a lot of things that this administration's done. There's a lot of question marks beside. There's a lot of things that people talk to me about on a daily basis that they're not happy with, and things that they question. And I think you brought up some very valid points, and we get in there come January. We're going to turn over every rock, and we're going to shine the spotlight on everything. This administration refuses to release financial reports. There's no monthly or quarterly financial reports going out. So the citizens are really in the dark.
Required?
To my knowledge, it is required to make that information public. They argue that it's not. Another thing that's really interesting, when I went to the budget hearing meeting back about 3 or 4 weeks ago, sat through a couple of those hearing meetings, and through that meeting, I asked, well, where's the budget for Mountain Cove Farms? Where's the budget for the landfill? And the answer was, well, that's not required by state law. And I said, so the two things in our county that's bleeding the most money, the landfill's losing over $500,000 a year, every year. Mountain Cove Farms is losing over $670,000 a year. There's no budget. So the employees have no guidelines, no roadmap.
If there's no budget, you're not losing money.
Well, and so it's like they stick it in the file cabinet and say, well, let's wait till the end of the year, and when the auditor comes in, and he'll tell us if we did good or if we did bad.
I ask because things can be wrong but not be against the law. They can be immoral, unethical, but they don't have to be illegal. Donald Trump doesn't have to give you his tax returns. There doesn't have to be a big televised State of the Union address. There's things that we assume they just have to be done, but some things are. And it says you've got to reveal these numbers. You have to tell the public, at a certain date, at a certain time frame, at a certain repetitive level, so many times during a term, what's happening here and there. I assume that is written down somewhere, and that should be there. Real quick, for those who don't know, Mountain Cove Farms, what is that to the county, and why is that bleeding so much money?
Well, Mountain Cove Farms was purchased by B.B. Heiskell for the county a few years ago to make it a tourist attraction, and it's down on the south end of the county where Pigeon Mountain and Lookout Mountain come together.
A beautiful place.
And it is a beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places in this whole entire region. But they got into the lodging business down there. They got into the restaurant business, the convenience store business.
You've seen Chattanooga do similar things.
Horse area for horses. There's a frisbee golf. They put in an RV park and different things. And the county government got into the business that private sector should do. But the big thing is that there wasn't a plan. There wasn't a budget, obviously. There was no real management structure put in place. So in 2014, the audit shows Mountain Cove Farms and operational losses lost over $925,000. So we've already heavy on debt. We're already having cash flow problems, and then we create a new entity that loses over $925,000.
I am going to come back to that in a second, because there's actually something else that's in the news right now, this very second. It won't be shortly, that is tied to it. But also, before I go back to the phone lines, and I will, how does a landfill lose money? It is literally a hole in the ground. You throw trash in, and you pay people to throw their trash in the hole in the ground. It can't be that high upkeep. The maintenance I know you now have to have it lined, but most new landfills, knew that going in. They didn't have to go back and retrofit. How does the landfill lose money?
Well, that's a huge question, because I've talked to landfill operations all over the state, and I asked them that question: how much money does your landfill lose every year? And they look at me like I've got three eyes or something. They go, lose money?
Yeah, I'm always handing money over when I go out there.
That's our cash cow. If it wasn't for the landfill, here's all the things we couldn't do in our local government. And so in Walker County, we have what they refer to as a C&D landfill, a construction demolition landfill, where you can put things from construction and things that don't leach. And then they have a transfer station. So I was talking to a guy the other day that's very intelligent about landfills, and he said, the transfer station's where the money's at. He said most governments that have transfer stations, because they get rid of it. They don't have that ongoing cost, and they're making a fee off of this transfer. So when I go back and I look at
They're
the
taking
audits,
the stuff that your landfill is not
permitted
specified for.
Yeah, it's not
and they take
permitted
it
for.
on.
Sending it away.
sending it away to a municipal landfill in Alabama, I understand. So when we look at the audits over the last 15 years and put that on a spreadsheet, this landfill's lost over $500,000 every year for 15 years. And what they're having to do, how do they offset those losses? Well, we take our property tax money and they
throw it in the landfill.
They transfer money from the property taxes. And so people wonder why their property taxes keep going up. Well, the landfill's losing money, but we're transferring in C&D waste from out of state. So we've got tractors and trailers bringing in C&D waste from Alabama and from Tennessee, and they get wholesale rates. That's why they're bringing it into us. You and I go in, Jeff, and we make a delivery to
It's
the
not
landfill.
cheap.
It's at posted retail price. These construction haulers, demolition haulers, they come in with truckloads, and so they get a wholesale rate. And so they're able to come in and save money by taking it to their local landfill areas. They can come to Walker County much cheaper. So our taxpayers are subsidizing these commercial haulers to come in and fill up our landfill.
We do. I'm going to the phone lines. I know we got commercial break coming up. There has been an arrest made. A guy named Scott Michael Green is in custody in the ambush-style police killings. 2 officers in Des Moines. He is not Middle Eastern looking. He is not African American. He looks like a pissed off redneck, and he is in custody. And that is breaking news. And that's the first piece of breaking news that we've had on that story since this morning. And a really scary situation because of the way they were killed. Very quickly, Andy, talk to me. Andy, you with us?
Yes, I am. First, I just want to say thanks for taking my call. I'm actually a first-time caller,
Welcome.
but I wanted to call and comment. I know Shannon personally. Hey, Shannon, it's Andy from Stormaker.
Hey, Andy, good to hear you.
This whole event with my wife and her used to be over 10 years, and I just want to say Shannon is one of the most upfront, great guys I've ever known. And me and him have had personal conversations about this campaign, and it's never once drifted from the issues that he's trying to tackle. And even, when negative things have come up from the other side, the only comment that he's ever had is it's unfortunate that they wanted to do that. So for anybody who's listening out there who has any doubts about the man that Shannon Whitfield is, I've known him for a long time, and I can attest that there's not many men much better out there. He's a great guy and has helped us a lot of money.
Thank you, Andy. And I'm going to go ahead and very quick, don't freak out on me, Brad. I'm going to get Chad's comment. We'll come back and let Shannon respond to both of these if he wants to. Chad, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Thank you, Jeff, for taking my call.
Pleasure.
I wanted to ask Mr. Whitfield, I know at one time your company had the Walker County contract for fuel and oil. From my understanding, BB terminated that at one time, and I'm curious to know if you are planning on getting that contract back. I know that's a lot of money for your company.
10:45.
And I'll hang up and let him answer the question.
That's a fairly straightforward question. And at this point, I have to treat this, even though the original reason would have, I've kind of foresaw a shorter conversation. I have no problem with that, but this is a political appearance. BB will get the equal amount of time, as will the other candidate. And please forgive me for just 1 second. I believe it's Perry Lamb. Is that right? For equal time, that's the way we do it. It's not my job to chase you down and get it. You just have to call me, all right? It's that time of year when most of us get out decorations for holiday. Okay, 10:50. Official National Weather Service forecast, mostly sunny today, 82. That'll be a record high for this day. Yesterday, we set a record high for the month of November in Tennessee, ever, 86 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight, 61. It will cool off. Tomorrow's high might get to 80, might stay in the 70s. 20% chance of showers, not much. I know it's dried down where you guys are, too, maybe even drier. And you guys, of course, have all that trial going on now with Florida. That'd be an interesting thing to talk about, too. North Georgia not as affected as some other areas. I know y'all get about tired of Atlanta throwing its weight around. That'd be a good conversation for another day. You had 2 calls. One, obviously, just in your corner. The second one asking a point-blank question. Did Whitfield Oil lose a contract? Did that motivate you in any way to run this campaign? Or can you, would you, should you, as a part of your plan if you win, to get that contract back?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Andy for calling in. I appreciate the kind words and appreciate your friendship. Chad made the statement that Whitfield Oil Company lost a contract. Number one, in the 40-year history of our business, Whitfield Oil Company has never, ever had a contract with Walker County at any level. We have sold the county gasoline and diesel fuel for many years because we provided a great service and we kept them at the lowest possible margin that we could operate on. And for the last 20 years, since we've moved our location, they're literally right across the street from us. So, it's very convenient.
But it's a day-to-day thing.
Right, so they can buy from whoever they want to, whenever they want to. But this became an issue really in March. So I qualified in January. I made my announcement last November that I was going to run for this position. The county continued to buy gas and fuel from us from November all the way to March. And so when it became a political football during the debate, the county chose to buy gas and diesel fuel elsewhere. So there was no breach of contract because there was no contract. There was no anything to discuss. The commissioner made that decision, and we knew that was probably going to happen, so we accepted that. I've been asked several times publicly and also on Facebook, well, what are you going to do as commissioner? So let's talk about going forward. And what I've said very consistently is that we will take on anything that the county buys, and we're going to do what's in the best interest of the county. So we're going to put things out for bid, specifically on the gas and fuel. The purchasing agent will be required to get a minimum of 3 to 4 bids for every load of gas or diesel fuel that's purchased. So those bids will come in, most likely, preferably by email. That way they're time and date stamped, and we'll say, okay, we want those Tuesday morning by 10 o'clock. If somebody wants to send them all in right at 10 o'clock or 2 minutes before, whatever. And then whoever's awarded that bid, that invoice and all copies of those bids that week will be posted on the website. And so people will be able to see immediately and see the history on the county's website of every bid and every invoice to validate that that was the lowest price. And so there's not going to be any issues with that. Whitfield Oil Company, we make the least amount of our profit margin for our company off of gas and fuel. So us losing that business from Walker County has not affected and made a negative impact on our business.
I wouldn't think it would be a big enough number.
It's a commodity.
To force you to run for office or to anything of that nature. I would have guessed that.
Right. It's a commodity product. All of us distributors, we all know what everybody's paying because we all get daily pricing of what the cost is or at the cost are at each terminal. So there's no secrets in this industry. Everybody knows what's going on.
I have to move very fast. I told David he would get on, and David, I'll get you on, but you're going to have to be brief because we have got another commercial break. We've got to get in, and I still want to make one tie-in, and we'll be out of time. Before you know it, David, good morning to you.
Good morning. Graduated high school with Mr. Whitfield, and he can probably figure out real quick who it is. In the post or comment of that Mr. Whitfield does not have a job, all he has time to do is sit on Facebook. BB, he's got a job this year, so pack up. That's all I had to say.
All right, David, thank you so much. We kept it brief. I was a little bit confused over why school got thrown in there. Why they've been dishonest about all these things. Your school?
Oh, there was some post out there saying that I was accepted to the University of Georgia and flunked out the first semester. I never even applied for the University of Georgia, so I don't know where that come from. So,
what's a bulldog envy is at play here?
Must be a Tennessee fan, maybe.
All right, I've got the other little question that I'm going to come back to. I can't go by the phone lines while Shannon's in here. We'll have to release it at 11 o'clock. Thank you for being a friend.
If you heard about it at lunch, we were talking.
Okay, Jimmy J, you get on the air at after the 11 o'clock news. All right, Shannon Whitfield's in here. You've got about 60 seconds to make whatever comments you'd like to make at this point, running for the commissioner seat down in Walker County.
I just want to remind people they can early vote today through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. They can go to the Rossville Civic Center, Chickamauga Civic Center, Northwestern College, or the Lafayette Courthouse. And then you'll be able to vote again on Election Day if you don't make one of those dates. So we're sticking to the facts of this campaign. Our county's tremendously in debt. We need new leadership. We need to get our county to a board of commissioners, and I'm very passionate about getting that done. And so I'd appreciate your vote during this election.
About 30 seconds, I got to ask. County Fair somehow has come into play at Mountain Cove Farms again. Why are we talking about the county fair real quick?
Well, the county fair, we tried to get a political information booth for that, and also Perry Lamb did as well. And BB is denying us both from being able to participate in the fair, to have a booth rental. They're saying no political content from other political candidates will be at the fair.
But let me guess.
Well, I'm sure BB's going to have her stuff there, because she's even taken her political signs and putting it on top of the
county fair
county fair signs, and in her campaign headquarters as well.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
So.
Your home for